Henri the Ball is a 4-level platformer. The objective of the game is to reach the end of the level. You press right to go right, left to go left, up to jump, and down to accelerate to the ground almost instantly. The game has 4 different types of blocks: solid, go through, killer, and trap blocks. Solid blocks are impenetrable blocks. You can only land on them from the top. All other sides act as a solid wall. Go-through blocks are blocks that you can go through. If you're under the block and then jump into the block, you will be moved to the top of the block. If you're on top of the block and press down, you will go under the block. Killer blocks teleport the player to the start of the level when touched. Trap blocks are killer blocks, but look like go-through blocks. They change colors when the player is near the block. There were a ton of bugs I encountered while writing this code, so much so that I dedicated the entire last level to be filled with them. The first issue I face is that when you hold down a key in MATLAB, MATLAB takes it as a single key input, waits a whole half second, then finally decides to make a continuous stream of key inputs. This creates a very noticeable delay from when you press down the arrow key to when you see your character move. So how do we fix such a devastating issue? I gave the ball a velocity in both the x and y directions. When you press the right or left key, the velocity of the ball changes. As the program goes through a while loop, the player's position changes based on the velocity. This means that the ball keeps moving to the right or to the left until it's explicitly told to stop moving. Tell it to stop moving by pressing the down key. The next problem I faced was hitboxes. The ball's hitbox is only the center of the ball since the program only sees the position of the ball and not the space the ball takes up. After trial and error, I found that the radius of the ball on a 1920 by 1080 screen is roughly 1 in the x direction and 2 in the y direction. So I extended all the hitboxes of the obstacles and boundaries by 1 in the x direction and 2 in the y direction. The hitboxes look off on different screen resolutions. This was fixed by changing the sides of the ball to match the screen resolution. After adding the ability to go down almost instantly, the ball accelerated so fast that it managed to break the floor boundary I set. This was fixed by making the player teleport to the surface if their position is below ground level. The blocks were a bit of a challenge. I tried various methods to try and optimally get the program to detect collisions. I couldn't find any shortcuts for the solid blocks. For these blocks, I had to check which direction the player touched the block and at what velocity for each side of the block. This is very tedious and causes a lot of bugs due to human error. I shortened the process by ignoring inaccessible sides of the block. For the go-through blocks, I stored the min and max x and y value for each block and stored it into a matrix. It was then placed into a loop to check if the ball was within the block. If it is, the ball would be moved to the top of the block. If the player is on top of the block and they press the down key, their y position changes to be right below the block. For killer blocks, their min and max x and y values were placed in the same matrix as the go-through blocks, but instead of taking the player to the top of the block, it would teleport them back to the start of the level. Trap blocks were treated exactly like killer blocks. The only difference is that it checks if the player is within a specific range of the block and changes colors. This is the timeline of the development of the game. It does not include everything, but it contains the major milestones. I've learned a lot while making this project. I learned how to control objects using your keyboard, and I learned a lot about optimization, detecting collisions, level design, and that there's always room for improvement. I used Camtasia to make this video, and I used online voice recorder to record my audio. I got help from a video called How to Write Pong in MATLAB. It taught me how to display a figure, move an object, and take in key inputs.